How's it going, guys? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting. Welcome back to Steinsgate, my darling's embrace, where we're on the Mayuri route. Now, it's funny because it feels like it's been forever since I last recorded this, but it really hasn't been. It's just, I think a lot happened. Nothing too serious or anything, but one of the other things is I got my first vaccine shot. And that's dating this, of course. So if from the far future somehow you're watching this, this is like spring 2021. So I got my first shot, ended up putting me in bed for a couple weeks. And after a couple weeks, what am I talking about? A couple days, but felt like weeks. I remember though because I had recorded this right before, and like I'd just finished editing the episode before, right before I went to go get that shot, and so I was feeling pretty gross when I uploaded the last episode, and didn't do my live stream. Should be doing a live stream today, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, we gotta get some more Persona stuff going on. But regardless of that, last time we were here was Kamima. We kind of just were supporting her and her adventures. Robo Mayuri still a thing. And oh, she said she wants to do the photo shoot with Moeka, which was really blowing Okabe's mind, but I mean, it makes a lot of sense, and if she wants to do it, then awesome. If she doesn't want to do it, then awesome. Like, it's all up to her, but Okabe is struggling with the concept because, you know, he's Okabe. He likes everything just so. He likes it all to be exactly the same and never to change. Why is that a theme of a lot of main characters? I mean, I get that there's a lot of like risk involved with change and it can be really scary, but at the same time, I've always felt like change can be exciting, but maybe it would make the story too easy if the main character was just rolling for it, whatever it works. But now she left her stuff here and she's gone to have a sleepover with Kurisu and was it Suzaha? Yeah, I think it was Suzaha. So now we're here at the lab, and since Daru's taken off because he hasn't slept in a couple days, it's just us here. And now he's like, well, crap, guess I'm camping here. By the way, we're going to jump right in. I just can't wait for it. I said this to myself while taking Dr. P out of the fridge and walking toward Mayuri's luggage. So, in case we missed it, he just said, ding Mayuri, now I can't leave because your bags are here. Oh, what a good guy. That's when I noticed something sticking out of her tote bag. The back of Urobo Mayushi's head. I walk up to it and press the button on its back through the fabric. Why did the phone have to go off there? I wanted to listen to that. Oh well. Hey, Ferris. Roger that. In that case, Ferris looks forward to the day we do battle Nyan. Okay, this is the end of that chain.
Oh.
You really are helpful, Urobo Mayushi. I've been so focused on the phone waveling to change and emails that I'd completely forgotten that I had to report to you for one of my classes. Might as well get started. Hey, good job. I sat in front of my desk and turned on the PC. Let's get this puppy going, huh? God, don't do that, man. Don't do that. I'm tired, too. It was already late afternoon when I awoke the next day. I looked from the window to see the back alley colored orange by the sunshine that snuck between the buildings. The temperature was as high as it was going to get that day, and tonight was looking to be a tropical night. Each day it seemed the news announced that another temperature record was going to be broken. Isn't that every year, feels like?
No.
こ
れも機関の陰謀かもしれん。奴ら、ついに天候を操る術を手に入れたのか?
That was one of the most human-sounding grunt/sighs I've ever heard. I swear I've made that noise before. Like in real life, I mean. Hearing sounds coming from the development room, I assumed that Daru was inside. If he was, he hardly reacted to my cool line. Dang it, waste of energy. I kept on grumbling as I opened the fridge and grabbed a Dr. P, which I then proceeded to chug. I was up all last night finishing my report. Took me longer than I thought it would, so I didn't get to bed until just before noon. Whoa, wow, dang. According to my hazy memory, it was right around the time I began falling asleep that Mayuri came to pick up her things. How are you functionally writing a paper if you were hardly capable of remembering it? God, these people don't know how to make, I don't know, study, work? I don't know, my brain's not working either. Man, maybe I'm tired.
ねえ、おかり、寝るならちゃんとタオルケットをかけた方がいいよ。お腹冷えちゃうよ。
Mayuri, we all need one in our lives, man. We're so lucky. I think I responded with, it's too hot today to get cold or something. But when I woke up, I found that the blanket had been placed over my stomach. Mayuri must have put it there.
Oi, Daru!
No, it's Kurisu.
Oh?
I stepped into the development room thinking that Daru was in there, but such was not the case.
おはようございます。
Hey,
京馬さん。
Luca. That's a pleasant surprise.
おはようっていう時間じゃないけどね。
Yeah.
ルカ子とクリスティーナか。こんなところで何を。まさかお前たち、いつの間にか秘密の関係に。
Aww. That's an interesting... I've never thought of that. Huh.
違うわ。変な想像すんな。
そうですよ。僕、京馬さんにだけはそんな誤解してほしくないです。あ、今のは変な意味じゃなくって。
That's one of those few things, Lukako, you said that isn't actually all that weird.
ルカ子よ、そこで頬をあからめるのはやめてくれ。
漆原さんがね、宿題でどうしてもわからないところがあるって言うからレクチャーしてたのよ。
Ah.
はい、京馬さんが眠っていたので起こさないようにと思いまして、ここで。
Gotcha. I see. So it was an act of kindness toward me. Lukako really is thoughtful.
一応私も気を使って声を落として喋ってたんですけど。
Thank you, Kurisu.
人の心を読んで勝手に怒るのはお前の悪い癖だぞ、クリスティーナ。
Oh, so this is a plot one. Seems I've been sent a message. I took the phone out of my pocket and looked at the screen. Do-do-do. Okabe, are you awake? It was from Mayuri. Of course I'm awake. What time do you think it is? He only just woke up, man. I kept this secret until recently, but... Oh. Stuff to do. Maybe she has some stuff to take care of today. Might not make it to the lab. None of us are required to report when entering the lab, but Mayuri always does. It's a very Mayuri thing to do. Oh, interesting, so I have a choice here. Take care today. Might not make it to the lab. Let's see, take care. Oh, fetch. I don't get to see. Okay, I get to see. Yeah, nope, I don't get to see. I just get to pick blind. Another supplementary class at school? I know this is your own fault, but it must be rough having to stay so late. Be careful on your way home, okay? See, that's the nice answer, which tends to not be the one that Okabe has to send for, like, the plot. I always pick the wrong ones. Thanks. Yeah, I will. You too, Okabe. Don't sleep without with your stomach out.
そういえば、ダルは来てないのか？
I've noticed lately I've actually been doing that. It's been getting warmer, obviously, and I've woken up a lot of times with, like, my arms kind of up here and just, like, just belly out. I don't know what's up with that, but it's apparently a thing.
橋田ならさっきまでいたけど、友達と共同購入した本を仕分けするとかなんとか言って出かけてったわよ。
Right. They had to go and, like, because they all hit different targets, because instead of having to, like, because there's no, like, he says it was all strategized. We saw this in Linear Bound. Kamima's too crowded. There's just no chance you can go to everywhere you want. So you work with a team. You all designate everything you want on the hit list, and you coordinate. So somebody goes and buys like 5 copies of the same thing, and then they go and exchange it for other stuff that other people picked up for them. It's a very clever system, and it's kind of like it's one of those things. It's like wow, it sucks you have to do that, but at the same time, it has this level of like fun to it, you know, that like would be spoiled if it was something you just ordered online.
それよりまゆりは今日は来ないのかしら。
あ、それなら。
I showed her the message about Mayuri that Mayuri sent me.
学校で補習みたいだな。
Aw.
そんなはずないですけど。
It might be the photo shoot.
ん？
補習授業はいつも午前中だけですよ。
そうなのか。じゃあ別の用事なんだな。
I tilted my head quizzically. I just assumed that she had class, but her response was kind of vague when I asked. Maybe she's working at May Queen Yan Yan? Just as I thought that, I heard an energetic voice from the direction of the door. Ferris.
京馬、こんばんはだにゃ。
Hey! Best girl!
お、フェイリスか。
Ferris held a massive bag in her hand.
それは？
ケーキの差し入れだにゃ。
Oh, that's very sweet. Trying to get us back. It was a cake? Kirishima and Lukaku began closing in upon hearing the word cake. Just as I'd expect from two modern women. Hey. Not that they're both women.
来月からメイクインで出す予定の新作ケーキなんだけどにゃ。せっかくだからみんなの意見も聞いてみようと思って。
Nice.
そういうことなら任せといて。
Of course.
僕お茶入れますね。
Lukaku happily filled the kettle with water and moved toward the stove. Ferris placed the cake on the table and proceeded to take a loud look inside the development room.
あれれ、今日はラボメはこれしか揃ってないのかにゃ。
Yep.
ケーキいっぱい持ってきたのに。
Hey, it's not our fault.
バイト選手と指圧師はまだ仕事だろう。ダルはさっき出かけたみたいだが、後で戻ってくるはずだ。マユリはてっきりフェイリスと一緒だと思ったんだがな。
今日はマユシお店には来てないにゃ。
Yeah, she's definitely doing the shoot, isn't she?
そっか。
What's this? So she wasn't working at May Queen Nanyan? Then is she taking care of something at home?
フェイリス、ちょっとブラウン管工房に顔を出してこようかにゃ。スズニャンの意見も聞きたいし。
Yeah.
だったらバイトが終わったら上がってくるように言うといい。
さあそれにゃ。
Ferris skittered down the stairs. Yeah, skittered down the stairs. I read that right, but I was like, wait, did I read
ミスタ
that?
ー・ブラウンには気をつけろよ。
After shouting that out the window at Ferris, I looked out at my cell phone. I'm going to invite Moko over. This is where we're going to figure it out. Still at work, Ferris got us a cake. Swing by when you have time. Short, sweet. I sent her my text and sat down on the sofa. I stared at the cake box in front of me. For some reason, I envisioned Mayuri's face. If she were here now, there's no doubt that she would have opened the box in excitement.
マユリちゃんに少し取っておいてあげましょうよ。
Absolutely.
そうね。
Cake actually holds up really, really well in like in a fridge. Like obviously you don't want to keep it there too long, but it's better than leaving it sitting out. And then, if I recall correctly, you can actually freeze a cake. Although that's risky. I do believe there is a way to do it right. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure I've had a cake that was frozen twice. Once just because it was like stored there, and then another, I think, when I got married, there is apparently a tradition on her side of the family where you save a slice of the cake to have on your first anniversary. I was really skeptical, but we followed the instructions that we were given, and it actually worked really well. Like, which is cool because the cake was flippin' amazing. Like, obviously, so we had like the big cake that was kind of just the decoration cake. It's not really like, it wasn't like an edible one because the fondant was too like, it was like a really thick, not very tasty fondant, and the cake was more, it could have been cardboard for all I know, because it was more about like slicing for the picture. Then we did like cupcakes for, you know, everyone at the reception, and then we got our own little like cake, just a tiny little one, but it was all homemade. Fantastic stuff. And like the cake, it's still to this day the best cake I've ever had. Brilliant job. Like I've had cakes that are pretty much on par with it, but like it was something else. And with the memories and everything, it was obviously going to be super powerful. And like I said, even after a year, when we were able to thaw it out, and like we just followed the instructions we were given by the person who made the cake, and like it was pretty much exactly the same after we'd stored it for a year, which was really cool. I just don't know how exactly you do it to make sure it doesn't dry out or anything. It almost seems as though Lukaku and Kirishi never knew what I was thinking. They always knew what I was thinking. Well, you probably have a face like mine, which is really easy to read. I have a horrific time hiding my emotions. I can probably say words in ways that people can find convincing, but if I'm feeling a strong emotion, I can't hide it at all. It's just never gonna work.
ダルが来る前に少し隠しておくか。あいつがいると全部食べちまいそうだからな。
Yeah.
まったくだわ。
Oh, what's this one? My cell phone went off. Oh. Screen informed me that was from Mocha. Sorry, a cake? Wow, unfortunately I'm in the middle of work at the theme park from before. You know, the website that I mentioned? I probably won't be able to swing by tonight. I still got way too much to do. Mocha. Ding, 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 we got a winner. I see, I guess editing's hard work. Come on, Okabe, put it together. It's not hard. That's too bad. Editing must be hard work, huh? He's like not really reading what he says. No, should I sent the response? She had replied once again. Are you impressed? Oh, okay. Yeah, a little bit. I'll save a piece for you. You can have it tomorrow or something. Watch, the cake's so terrible. It's not gonna be. What if it was? Strawberry. If there's any strawberry cake, you know what to do. We don't get to choose the cake. Got it, got it. Strawberry it is. Alright, yeah. Oh, great. I forgot to tell you something important. Make sure that Sheena-san gets home safe and sound. And so don't worry. I'll make sure that Sheena-san gets home safe and sound, so don't worry. Huh? Oh, brilliant, Okabe, you mad scientist. I reread Mocha's message. I'll make sure that Sheena-san gets home safe and sound. What is going on?
どうかしたんですか?
No. Lukiko and Kirisu seemed concerned over my contorted expression.
おいや、視圧師が変なことを言ってるから。
変なこと?
I quickly responded. Wait, you're with Mayuri? Why? Come on, it's not that hard to figure out. She practically told you right away. Huh? What do you mean? Did she not tell you? I've heard nothing. She did, but you reacted poorly, so now she's probably trying to hide it. Nothing. She took the modeling gig. After I said to her that, I received a surprising message from Mocha. Mayuri, a model? Nani? I found myself standing up from the sofa. But I told her the other day to say no. Well, what? Okabe, you don't own her. I could see Lukiko Kirisu's eyes that they wanted an explanation, so I gave them the rundown. Kirisu insisted that it wasn't a shady photo shoot and that she'd be okay since Mocha was with her, but that's not the point. How do I put it? Even if it were for the sake of the lab, I don't want her to take on any jobs that she isn't comfortable with. Okay, she told you she's comfortable with it. Initially, she was like, I don't know, but then she thought about it. She was like, okay, I think I could do this. She told you she's comfortable. Why are you so possessive here? I stuffed my cell phone and wallet into my pockets and bolted out the lab. I ran by Suzuha and Ferris in the alleyway, but by the lab as they were about to go up the stairs. The two had no idea what was going on, and they just stared in surprise as I quickly ran toward the station. Okabe, you're so like, in this story, he's very possessive. It's kind of weird. By the time I'd arrived at the amusement park, the Earth's scorching sun had fallen below the horizon, and the dark of night had begun to envelop the sky. I'm at the entrance. Well, did you tell her you were coming? I stood by the gate and messaged Mocha that I had arrived. Soon, a familiar face came to meet me. Wait, what did the phone say? Wait there, I'm coming to pick you up. Okay. Hey.
悪かったな。いきなり来て。
いい。椎名さんの心配なの。わかるから。
Aww.
いや、お前がいるから心配ってことはないんだ。そういうことじゃなくってだな。
I wanted to know why Mayuri accepted the job. She doesn't seem to want to do it at first. Okay, but can't people change their minds?
これから撮影が始まるの。こっち。
Wait, if they're just about to start, what were they doing all day? Mocha let me in and we walked by the park's various attractions. The park closes at 6 p.m. today, so there's no one here. All the lights and machines are turned off and everything's shrouded in shadow. Things feel especially lonely knowing how lively this place is during the day. However, after a couple of minutes of walking, we came to an area where the attractions were illuminated. The merry-go-round and spinning teacups were running and playing cheery music despite the lack of riders. But my eyes were drawn to the colorful, Christmassy lighting, which stuck out like a sore thumb in the summer night. There were 7 or 8 people working busily around those lights. I could see a huge tripod and camera, so it must be the photo shoot crew. Gotcha. So they were probably just getting prep work all set up. That's why it took so long.
マユリは？
今衣装に着替えてもらってる。
Oh yeah.
衣装？まさかトナカイか？
No. Suddenly, the image of Mayuri in a reindeer costume singing jingle bells entered my head. Now it makes sense. Mayuri would be perfect model for something like that. But Mocha shut that idea down.
そういう仕事だったら多分岡部君に頼む。
Hey! Well, to be fair, that's fair.
ああ、なるほど。おい、
Hey!
この法王隠居魔がトナカイなどやるか？
Why does she look so focused all of a sudden?
岡部君がトナカイでサンタは芦田君。ありかも。頼んでいい？
That kind of sounds adorable.
絶対にやらんわ。
Our conversation, such as it was, continued as Mocha took me to the photo shoot crew. She introduces me to the director as Mayuri's guardian.
もしかして椎名さんの彼氏さんかしら？
違います。
The first sentence out of her mouth was so absurd, I had firmly deny it. The director laughed, you don't have to hide it, and returned to the crew. How pedestrian, a foolish emotion like romance ill suits a bad scientist like me. It's only common sense. Ha ha ha!
来た。椎名さん。
Ready for the grand reveal? I followed Mocha's gaze and saw Mayuri walking toward us with a female staff member.
No.
Oh, dump dump. Here comes the heartbeat, right? I could hardly believe my eyes. When I was in this park about a week ago, Mayuri's appearance stunned me. But that was when she showed up in the bikini Ferris chose. That pales in comparison to how stunned I am this time. Oh, she's freaking adorable. Oh my gosh. Holy crap. It fits her so well. Oh, it's like a princess dress. Yeah. It's odd because like Ferris seems like she would make a decent princess because she kind of behaves like one and has that mannerism. But let's be honest, if there's anyone who's actually a princess, it's Mayuri. Oh man, fetch. That's adorable. Mayuri's makeup was beautifully, professionally done. Her hair is set perfectly and beautiful floral ornament has replaced her usual hat. She's clad in a formal dress, but it's nothing too flashy. She's done up in a way that highlights her innocence and prettiness, not pettiness. I don't know what kind of fabric they use, but her dress is glittering, reflecting the colored lights of the merry-go-round. As she walks, the frills around her shoulders and chest and her skin flutter. Her skirt flutter. Fetch, I'm just not reading properly, man. I heard someone from the crew utter, wow.
イメージ通り動画から出てきたみたい。
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah. I nodded, still looking at Mayuri. I don't know why, but I can't take my eyes off her. I can't take my eyes off her. She's an image on my screen. If she were really standing in front of anybody, yeah, people would be like, fetch, man. Yeah. The girl from the fairy tale saw me and let out a sound of surprise. At that moment, I was snapped out of the fantasy and returned to the real world.
なんで？オカリンがいるの？
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't get all flustered on me.
どうしてここにいるの？
Mayuri looked surprised and walked up to me, the lace of her dress making a soothing, shuffling sound as she did so. She looked even prettier up close. I tried to sound more collected than I felt.
視圧師から聞いた。さっきマユリにメールしといたはずだけどな。
I sent her that email when I was on the train over here. I wrote, you don't have to force yourself to model. I'm heading there right now, so just stay put. But I didn't receive any response.
ごめんね。お仕事中だから電源切ってたよ。
I think that's good. I think you might finally understand why she's a great model for this.
なんだ、じゃあメール見てないのか。
Ah, so that's why I didn't get a reply.
椎名さん、そろそろいいかしら？
The director called Mayuri to the photo shoot was about to begin.
照れちゃうな。オカリンに見られてたら、眉し恥ずかしいよ。
Oh, Mayuri, first of all, no. You're fine. Mayuri can't seem to stand still.
いや、な、マユリ。照れる前にちょっと話を聞け。
何? Yeah, what? I moved closer so only she could hear me.
お前、無理してるんじゃないのか？言ったろ？ラボの運営は厳しいけどさ、お前がこんなことしなくたって。
それはね、大丈夫なんだ。
Mayuri put her hands on her face and smiled shyly. Then she slightly furrowed her brow.
大丈夫？
ね、初めはモデルさんなんて無理だよって思ったけど、今でもまだ恥ずかしいんだけどね。なんかね、こうやって綺麗にしてもらえると、
Aww.
ちょっと嬉しいかなって。
You are awesome.
まゆし、自分でもびっくりなのです。
I was probably more surprised than she was. I'd always thought Mayuri was a girl who floated through life, made silly mistakes like making costumes, ignored the latest trends, and would pick a good meal over anything romantic any day of the week. To me, she was always the girl I knew in elementary school. I never imagined she would feel the way a girl her age might feel. Embarrassed by my sudden realization, I tried to look away from my childhood friend.
そうか。マユリが楽しんでるならそれでいいんだ。悪かったな。変なこと言って。
オカリ、ありがとう。心配してくれて。
Aww. By the way, the music here is really nice.
そのドレス、熱くないのか？
Unable to control my eyes, I quickly tried to change topics.
大丈夫だよ。生地が薄いから。
あ、そっか。ほら、みんな呼んでるぞ。頑張れよ。
Yeah, 頑張れよ. Mayuri turned away from me and hurried toward the crew. I heard the voice of a feminine cameraman shouting, "Right, let's get started!" resonating through the park. It was my first time seeing an actual photo shoot. I found myself surprisingly engaged. The big sisterly cameraman gives camerawoman or whatever. Cameraman gives direction to his okay, what gender are you going for here, man? To his or her, I'm gonna say her assistant, and arrange the lighting. They really are professionals. The staff is great at creating a relaxed atmosphere, doing everything they can to put Mayuri at ease. She was obviously tense at first, but she gradually started smiling more naturally. He says, "Great, now can I see you spin around?" And Mayuri obliges. Her skirt flutters around and her bare legs look dazzling. But she spun a little too fast, and the cameraman laughs and says, "Mayuri, Chad, if you move that fast, it'll come out blurry." Even if the fabric is thin, she's still moving around in a dress this hot summer night, so she must be hot. The makeup artist goes to wipe her sweat and touch her up. Her makeup up, by the way. As I watched him, I started to feel as though this wasn't reality, that I was living in a dream. Like, Mayuri was not Mayuri. Not necessarily in a bad way, it's more like, well, I don't know how to put it.
No.
Yep, what's this? Shina-san is so gorgeous. You were totally just staring at her, Okabe. Shut! You're quiet! I was trying to Mocha out loud since she was standing right behind me. Oh, now she looks really sad.
だからそういう顔で見るなというのに。
そういう顔って何?
Mocha's face isn't particularly expressive, but I felt like her look was saying, "You sly dog, be honest with yourself." That's just what you need to hear. Still trying to play dumb? Ha ha ha. Shush.
やっぱりそうではないか。
Are you sure about that? I shouted that out loud, then covered my mouth in a fluster. The crew looked at me to see what's going on. I cringed out a sheepish, "I'm sorry, it was nothing."
こらしやつし、貴様のせいで恥をかいたではないか。
ごめんね。
Aww.
俺に何か用か？用がないんならあっちへ行って撮影の手伝いでもしてきたらどうだ？
Aw, Okabe. I had just about enough of her nonsense anyway.
あるの。岡部君に用事。
Oh, what's this?
何？
ディレクターが呼んでる。
When I turned to look, the director was beckoning to me with a smile on her face. I bet you I know what this is gonna be. I bet you I've got a prediction here. I've got a prediction. They want couple shots because Christmas in Japan is very much about romance, and they're doing a Christmas shoot. And while Mayuri is fantastic with him here, and you know, like while he's tall, thin, and gangly, if they have a wardrobe that would fit him and they get him like dolled up all right, I imagine he'd be quite a good counterpart to Mayuri. And I think that they could do some pretty fun stuff here. Like it feels like the right step here.
手伝って。
何を？
撮影。
Yeah.
いや、待て
whoa,
待て。
whoa, whoa, whoa.
俺みたいなど素人に写真撮影のサポートなんてできるわけないだろう。まあ確かに奇跡のマッドサイエンティスト隠居魔に不可能はないがな。いくらなんでも無茶ぶりというものだ。
大丈夫。撮影ならプロの人たちがいるから。
Oh
だ
man.
ったら俺に何をしろというのだ？
あれ。
When I saw what Momoko was pointing at, I opened my eyes wide, started stammering, and staggered back. The astonishment triple combo. A wardrobe staffer standing by the director taking out a costume. If this were the reindeer costume Momoko had threatened with earlier, I wouldn't have been this shocked. I could have put the matter to bed with a line like, "Do you really expect the Hyonin Kyobe to wear this?" But no, what the staffer held in their hands was, surprisingly, a tuxedo. Yes! I called it!
ちょっと待ってください、すみません。もとい、待つのだしやつしよう。
I quickly rebuke Mocha.
俺とあの衣装に何の関係があるんだ？
Yeah?
来てほしい。
なんで？
Not that. To snap.
何を？
Snap what?
写真。
Photos.
どうして？
You!
椎名さんの恋人役。
Yes!
誰が？
Who?
岡部君。
何を？
I looked in disbelief from Mocha to the director to the wardrobe staffer.
はい、それじゃあちょっと休憩にしますね。男性モデルさんメイク入りますんで。
Oh my gosh, this is happening. The director proceeds as if I'd agreed to the crazy idea. This took Mayuri by surprise, and I heard her ask the director.
オカリも一緒に写るんですか？
うん、嬉しいでしょ。
Yeah, are you kidding me with your "it'll be fun, right"? I haven't given you the go-ahead. What sort of madness is this? It's called fate. Embrace it. It's all right. Sorry to surprise you like that, but don't worry. It's just your back. Oh, okay. So it's just my back. Sensing my skepticism, the director approached me and started to explain. Why couldn't she have done that before they whipped out the tux? She tells me that the theme of these shots is a girl and her lover talking about love at an amusement park on Christmas Eve. That's a theme. It's like a light novel title. I suppose I've seen ads of similar situations. But because Mayuri is the main character, they're only going to show my back and shoulders in these photos.
だったら俺じゃなくてもスタッフの誰かにやってもらえばいいんじゃ。
Oh, come on, dude.
最初はそのつもりだったんだけどね。椎名さんを見ててどうしても欲しいと思ったの。
Yeah, yeah.
欲しい？
What was that?
椎名さんがあなたのことを見るときの笑顔よ。
Heartbeat.
え？
Mayuri's basically always smiling. You could even call her a natural smile generator. Okabe, have you ever considered the fact that she tends to do that around you? So maybe everyone else doesn't see the same smile. No matter who she's talking to, she'll always smile and give them a doo-doo-doo. That's why everyone loves her. It's probably her strongest feature. Everyone during the photo shoot. Even during the photo shoot, I'm sure she could smile for anyone else. When I told the director that, she thought for a moment and responded.
じゃあ椎名さんに聞いてみていい？恋人役はあなたがいいってそう彼女が言ったら OK してあげてよね。
I like what she's thinking.
まあ、マユリがそこまで言うならですけど。
Ha, she'd never say such an embarrassing thing. The director nodded once, walked up to Mayuri, who was looking at us nervously, and started talking to her. I shot Mayuri a meaningful glance. You understand, don't you, Mayuri? You don't want to make me do stupid things like that, right?
というわけなの。どうかな？
Hey, well, what are you so indecisive about? I'm telling you, don't say anything weird. What suits a mad scientist the most is the white robe covered with the blood of enmity of the victims of his experiments. Certainly not a tuxedo like that. Mayuri said something unintelligible to the director and blushed. The director looks at me with a smile. Wait, Mayuri, what did you just tell her? What did you say? Just give up. Come on, get changed. Everyone's waiting for you, Mocha. I read the message from Mocha. Look up at the sky. All right. Ah! It's even better. It's the best thing ever. Yes. Oh, thank you. I'm so happy that I've got to play this. 30 minutes later. Dang, that was fast. The professionals had done their work on me, coordinating my appearance perfectly from top to bottom, then standing me in front of a merry-go-round. What is happening? What am I doing here? I've only felt like this twice before. Once when I had to wear a kimono for the coming-of-age ceremony at a shrine, and once when I first wore my junior high uniform.
もしもし、そうだ、俺だ。すまない。油断したばかりに、恐るべき機関の陰謀に巻き込まれてしまった。
Yeah, shut your face. Come on.
だが案ずるな。絶対に脱出する方法を見つけ、この難局を切り抜けてみせる。かつてない危機だが、俺は必ずやり遂げるだろう。
Yes, sure.
なぜならそれが、シュタインズゲートの選択だからだ。
Sigh.
Kangaroo.
In the middle of this important conversation, Mocha took my phone away while the sisterly cameraman said, "Shall we get started?"
ごめんね、おかり。
It's fine, it's fine. Mayuri swishes up to me in her dress and looks up at me. You should be... have you lost your mind? Is this what I was going to say, but when I saw how cute Mayuri looked, the words caught in my throat. For some reason, I couldn't think of anything to complain about.
まゆしね、おかりんと写真を撮りたかったんだ。
Aww, come on, Okabe, how could you not?
考えてみたらね、最近一緒にちゃんと写真を撮ったことないなって。
Really?
そうだったか？
Well, alright. Now that she mentions it, I don't think I've had my picture taken since my high school graduation ceremony. And I really can't imagine I'd have changed to get one. I'd had a chance to get one with her, especially since she lives in a lower grade than me.
いい記念になるね。
Oh yeah.
記念というより、おぞましい記憶だと思うがな。
A crime scene. I took another look at myself. They styled my hair and shaved off any trace of my stubble, so I feel kind of uncomfortable.
でもね、そうしてきちんとしてるおかりんは、なんだか本当のモデルさんみたいだよ。
Ooh.
わけのわからんことを。
本当だよ。すっごくかっこいいよ。
Aww. Mayuri's not the kind of person who compliments someone to make them feel better, so I honestly believe she thinks so. But come on, she's definitely biased. No one else would think that. Look, see, the photo shoot crew is looking at us with smiles on their faces. They're probably all thinking love is blind. Ugh, even if this is for the lab, I can't take it. This is shameful.
おい、視圧師よ。俺の分のバイト料もちゃんと出るのだろうな。
大丈夫。
Well, fine.
あと、本当に俺の顔は映すなよ。お前たちにも機関の手が及ぶからな。
わかってる。機関とかよくわからない。
Right. Go on, Okabe, though. For personal sake, you gotta get a picture with the two of you just standing there.
お前は知らなくていいことだ。
Then the feminine photographer said, Now we're going to take photos of the happy couple cuddling up on the carousel. Did he just say cuddling up?
逃げちゃダメ、逃げちゃダメ、逃げちゃダメ。
Don't run away, don't run away. Please don't, Okabe.
やかましいわ。 こら、引っ張るな、おい
I was dragged onto the merry-go-round. Meanwhile, Mayuri is trying to get onto a wooden horse by herself and looking like she was having a lot of fun. Then she mounted it like a cowboy with one leg on each side.
こらこらこら、前より自分が着ている服を考えろ。
そうだったよ。どうすれば。
馬の背に斜めに座って足をちゃんと揃えてだな。
Yeah.
なんかお姫様みたいだね。こうかな。
Okabe's gonna catch her and just gonna be like... Whether it was the costume or the unfamiliar way of sitting, she lost her balance and slipped. I rushed over to her, catching her in my arms.
ほら、馬の首を持って、そしたら足をここに置いて。
ありがとう。
Mayuri leaned on me and smiled shyly. I felt her body on my arm, and she was so light and soft. It felt like she would break if I wasn't careful with her. It felt like I was holding cotton candy fresh out of the machine. Yeah. What? Wait, are they shooting already? Sister Cameraman had gotten closer when I wasn't looking. He's been snapping away. Hold on, you fool. I'm not ready yet.
すみません、もう始まってるんですか?
I put my foot down with a shattering force. But the cameraman simply replied, that was wonderful. Keep up the good work. It kept on shooting. Not sure exactly what was wonderful. I ended up playing with Mayuri on the merry-go-round. Oh, here we go. Now I don't have the camera thing. Like they're normally in the left corner screen, hidden by me, is the button that's like the phone, and it makes it so that it's like I don't get a full screen like this. So I'm gonna grab that real fast. That's awesome. The cameraman didn't ask much of us. Just simply said, "Just have fun."
ねえねえ、オカリ、馬車に乗ってみようよ。
Mayuri pulls my arm as we bathe in the sea of lights.
馬車ってこれか?
They're like watching these two just have fun is like probably there's like it's like freaking gold mine. Just don't interfere.
いや無理だろう。子供用だぞ、多分。
Mayuri was talking about a carriage with a roof that looked way too small for two adults to squeeze into.
そうかな。
Mayuri got into the carriage and fit perfectly into the seat.
ほら大丈夫だよ。オカリンもどうぞ。
どうぞって本当に平気か?
Oof, I squeezed in and take a seat across from Mayuri. Though it seems less like we're facing each other, more like we're squeezed into a tiny box together. My head touches the roof and I can hardly move.
なんか苦しいね、オカリ。
Yeah, I know, right?
だから言ったろう。
あれ、お尻が抜けないよ、オカリ。
Oh, are you serious?
何? ほら、俺に捕まって引っこ抜け。
Uh-oh.
どこ握ってるんだお前は。
なんか今グニュって言ったよ、オカリ。
Oh dear.
説明せんでいい。
Don't picture
あんたも
that!
写真撮ってないで助けろ。
I shouted at the sisterly cameraman. For staff members, hurry over and get us out. After the fuss of the merry-go-round resolved itself, they took us over to the teacups. They told us that it would be hard to take our picture while the teacups were spinning, so we're going to sit in them while they're not moving. Once we got into the cup, they brought us a couple of glasses with sparkly beverages inside. A non-alcoholic beverage, of course. Aww. Surrounding us were red flowers and other festive objects to give things a Christmassy look. Dang, this looks like so much fun!
かわいいね。
Mayuri started happily playing with the decorations. Seeing her like this, I breathed a sigh of relief that the little girl I knew was still in there somewhere. Unfortunately, right after this, I had to suffer through a terrible drink. They told us to look into each other's eyes and make toast like a couple would. What's wrong with them? What kind of couple is stupid enough to make a toast while riding the teacups? Still, we followed their ridiculous direction. We hold our drinks in hands and get our faces closest to each other. Then we're supposed to look into each other, but I can't do that for so long too because I get nervous. Mayuri, on the other hand, seems to have gotten used to the shoot. She looks straight into my eyes, looking as if she's really in love with me. I wonder why. Her eyes were glittering, her cheeks were slightly flushed, and her glossed lips were slightly open as if they were waiting for something. Oh my gosh. She's really going down the track. I can see how this is like the way it would have happened because she was so locked up in her own feelings for like a while. Like it took like all of Zero for her to finally like accept it. But this could be the grand unlocking. You know, she feels like a princess. He feels like her prince. They're just having fun, goofing around. She's forgot about the camera. She just kind of feels like she's on a really romantic date with Okabe. And she's like, holy crap, this is real. What's with that faint sigh? It's so cute. What's wrong with me? You're human. A modern woman rom-com situation like this has no place in my life of chaos and madness. Could this be the organization's doing? Am I getting brainwashed or something? Darn you, organization.
どうしたの？おかり。
No.
あ、いや、なんでもない。
I mean, there's no way she feels that way about me, right? I tried with all my might to find the right look to return her gaze, but who could blame me for struggling with something like that? Aww. So cute. Mayuri starts cracking up.
もうおかり。笑わせちゃやだよ。
笑わせとらんわ。
嘘だよ。こんな顔してるもん。
Yeah, how? Mayuri squints her eyes, brought her eyebrows together, and plucked her lips like an octopus. She looked like a comedy mask.
そんなひどいか？
Oh.
よし、もう一度だ。
I have to keep my pride intact at least. I channel all my energy into my eyes and look straight at Mayuri. How about that, Mayuri? Modeling's nothing against the concerted effort of Hyon and Kyoba.
だから笑うな。
The crew kept warning us that they couldn't take pictures like this, and every time it happened, the shoot slowed to a halt. He's trying.
なんという厳しい戦いだ。
Something a war veteran.
岡部君、意識しすぎ。
Yeah.
するだろ普通。
椎名さんはちゃんとできてるけど。
True.
マユリには演技の才能があるんだ。そうに違いない。
Mm-hmm.
演技なんてしてないよ。
She's just having a blast. No, no, no. There's no way you're just being yourself, Mayuri. That can't be.
変なおかり。
You're the weird one.
今の岡部君、ちょっと面白い。みんなに写メ送ろう。
Oh no.
やめんか。
I don't even want to think about what Kurushi would say if she saw me like this. It took me nearly half an hour to clear this difficult mission. In the end, I had to face Mayuri's direction, but look somewhere else. Why do I have to do this if they're only going to include my back and shoulders in the photos anyway? This is ridiculous. Oh, that was lovely.
お疲れ様。この次で最後。
Oh, sweet. Okay.
そうか。
I practically collapsed onto the bench in exhaustion. Once I gathered myself a little, asked what the last shoot was going to be.
クリスマスツリーの前。プレゼントをするシーン。
That sounds so sweet.
クリスマスツリー。
Do they even have a Christmas tree this time of year? Before I could ask, the director asked us to follow her. She led Mayuri and I partway through the park. And... Oh, wow.
きれい。
That's another good shot right here. That's awesome. I love the gloves too. The gloves really do well for the look. When we got to the plaza near the entrance, Mayuri gasped in amazement. The sight of it took my breath away too. Before us towered a beautiful glittering tree of light. It was a fir tree covered in decorative bulbs that showered its surroundings with light. The lights danced along the shape of the tree, standing starkly against the darkness in the background. Given that there were no other illuminated trees standing around, I surmised that this one was specifically decked out for this shoot. Mayuri trots toward the tree and looks up at it spellbound.
すご
Without another word, she continues to look up at the tree, studying its every detail.
ほら、見てみろ、マユリ。てっぺんに星が乗ってるぞ。
Oh, yeah.
本当だ。
I can't help I'm just smiling though so much. Atop the tree stood a clear star that looked like it was made of crystal. It shone with the refracted colors of light wrapped around the tree.
なんだか夢みたい。
Yeah. Mayuri muttered as she stared at the star.
クリスマスシーズンはもっとすごい。
そうなのか？
イルミネーション、この辺り全部。
それは確かに壮観だろうな。
I imagine a sickly sweet conversation the couple might have as they walk through the illuminated forest. A feat that will forever elude me.
今年の冬、来てみれば？
何をバカな。どうして俺がそんなベタなデートスポットをうろつかねばならんのだ。
でも、シーナさん、喜ぶと思う。
Like how I think he just can't see that.
何？
I looked at Moeka in a state of minor panic.
なんで俺がマユリと？
Moeka's facial expression doesn't change at all, so I have no idea if she's serious or just teasing me. If it were Kudasu or Daru harassing me, then they wouldn't be able to keep a straight face. I don't know.
指圧しよう。変なことを言うな。
変なこと？
俺とマユリはそのデートとかするような関係じゃないからな。
デートの話なんてしてない。
I'm not sure I believe you.
え？
ラボのみんなで見に来ようって話。
あ、うん。
Okabe! Dun dun dun! You had a Freudian slip. How misleading can you get? Just say what you mean in the first place. Use your words, darn you. Having blatantly incriminated myself, I attempt to change the subject as I turn to face Mayuri. But found myself startled. There's my shot, right there. What a picture. Mayuri was reaching out to the star with her right hand. Her back was straight and she was stretching as far as she could, as if she could reach the highest heights imaginable. In her eyes, I see a mysterious color, one that sits somewhere between nostalgia and wistfulness. Stardust handshake. Mayuri's had this curious habit for a long time, so that's the name I gave it. No matter where, when, or what she's doing, sometimes she'll just suddenly get lost in the moment like this. She looks up at the sky and reaches out as if there's something she wants, just out of reach. If she got whatever it is she wants, what would happen? Or does she want something she can never get? I don't really know. But whenever I see her like this, I get antsy and unable to contain myself. That's right, I can't help but get flashbacks of what I saw that day. The angel's ladder descending from in front of young Mayuri. The way she looked up at it slowly, reached out. And gently, the way Mayuri's body seemed to float toward the heavens haunted me to this day. So I desperately tried to hold on to her. To keep her in this world. To keep her from floating away. I'll never let you go. I'll never let them take you. As a boy, I held my friend in my arms and kept whispering those words in her ear.
Oi, Mayuri!
I called out to her with a loud, clear voice. I thought by raising my voice that I could both snap her out of her reverie and pull myself out of my memories. Mayuri looked at me, blinked in surprise.
ほら、そろそろ撮影が始まるみたいだぞ。
It was true. I'd seen that the crew had finished setting up and I saw a photographer walking toward us.
ごめんね。
何をしてたんだ？
天のお星様は無理かもしれないけど、あのお星様なら手が届くかもしれないなと思って。
I really wish I knew more about why she does that.
そりゃ無理だろう。木の一番上だぞ。どのくらいの高さだと思ってるんだ？
そっか。
Yeah. Mayuri shrugged sadly. Only she would be dead serious about getting to a star from the top, getting the star from the top of the tree.
じゃあ最後の撮影よろしく。
Oh yeah. Mocha handed me the small gift that we would be using in the photos. It's a tiny box with the Christmas themed wrapping and a ribbon on top.
何が入ってるのかな、楽しみだな。
Yeah.
いやいや、空っぽだろう。撮影用なんだから。
I shake the box and lo and behold, it makes no sound.
まゆし立て続けにがっかりだよ。
Aww. The director overheard our conversation, smiled, and said, I'll put something in there next time. Hey, what's this next time? There's no next time, never! I tell the director that with my eyes, and she just laughs. With the cameraman's call of, okay, my lovelies, positions, our final shoot begins. Our shoot under the tree proceeded very smoothly compared to the previous one. Mostly because they were focusing on Mayuri, so I didn't have to do too much. They took shots of her that contained only my hand, or perhaps that I'd be off in the distance. Maybe, just maybe, the teacups taught them that it's reckless to try and get me in the model. That's what I told them in the first place. But with that, our modeling session was completed. The director shouted, all right, that's a wrap! Nice work today! And it echoed through the park. Then the crew started applauding, Mayuri and I for some reason. I went to change out of my tux, and when I came back, Mayuri was standing under the tree. The crew had started removing all the trimmings from the tree. One was on a tall ladder to unwrap the lights. And in the middle of it all this, Mayuri was staring at them without saying a word. Her gaze was fixed on the clear star above her. Mayuri saying, if I can't reach the stars in the sky, maybe I can reach the one at the top of the tree, echoes in my head. Then I remembered what Kurisu had told me the other day. After Mayuri had saved my life at the pool.
人工呼吸はともかく、岡部、あんたまゆりに何かお礼した方がいいわよ。
Yeah. But that wasn't the only thing that I had to thank Mayuri for. Mayuri's been worried that she hasn't done anything for the lab, but I don't think that at all. Without her, I don't think I would have been able to keep the lab together for this long. Things wouldn't have been nearly as stable. The lab might have even broken up. Coming up with an idea, I walk over to Mocha.
指圧しよう。
何？
すまないが、ちょっと相談があるんだ。
相談？
あれが欲しいんだが、なんとかならないか？
I pointed at the star atop the tree. Mocha tilted her head in confusion as if she didn't quite understand what I said. Oh, but when she saw Mayuri staring at the star, she nodded. Excuse me.
プレゼント？
Yeah.
勘違いするな。日頃世話になってる礼だ。
Mocha took a moment to think, then took out her phone and wrote me an email with her lightning-fast fingers. I'll ask them, but it was a rental from a leasing company. I asked the director if we can buy it, but don't expect much.
ああ、悪いが頼む。あとその値段もな。あんまり高かったら無理だ。
They told me that I'd get paid, but I can't count on that. I still have the electricity bill to pay.
わかった。
Mocha looked at Mayuri as she said so. Mayuri didn't seem to notice, her gaze still fixed on the star. Kinda hope we get it.
今日は緊張しちゃったね。
Yeah, I bet.
特に俺はいきなりだったからな。
We left the park before Mocha or the shooting crew and got on the train. It might just be because I just escaped from a high-tension shoot, but I'm exhausted all of a sudden. Sitting right next to me, Mayuri looks a little tired too. Well, to be fair, you were working. Like, you literally got paid. You were doing a job.
本当にごめんね。まゆしがあんなこと言ったから。
いや、文句を言ってるわけじゃない。めったにできない貴重な経験だったしな。
Yeah. Mayuri looks so sorry that I had to say something to cheer her up.
それよりMayuri、別れ際に指圧師の携帯から何か転送してもらってたよな。
これだよ。
Yeah. Mayuri took out her phone and showed me a photo. Without thinking, I groaned. It was a photo of Mayuri and I all done up on the merry-go-round. It kind of hurt me to look at. And Mayuri continued the atrocity exhibition with a tap on her phone.
これももらったの。
On the screen, I saw Mayuri and myself sitting in the teacup, looking in each other's eyes. Ooh.
他にもね。
ちょっと待って、これってさっき撮った写真だよな。
They were using a digital SLR camera. The cameraman said he'd taken the data back to his office to finalize the pictures on his computer, but
萌香さんがね、撮影の合間に携帯で撮ってくれたやつだよ。
I mean, it makes sense.
そっか。そういえばちょこちょこ撮影していたな。
Darn you, Finger. She's not going to show these photos to anyone in the lab, right? I need to confirm that with her later.
まゆしね、この写真がいいな。
Yeah? Which one? Mayuri showed me the one particular photo. The two of us are standing in front of the sparkling tree and smiling at each other. Because it was taken just after the shoot ended, the two of us had relieved smiles on our faces, though I looked a little zoned out.
なんだか格好悪くないか俺。
そんなことないよ。まゆしの大好きなオカリンだよ。
Aww. Mayuri said nonchalantly. It took me aback, but this is Mayuri we're talking about. She can't have meant it like that.
ああ、そうだ。この写真を携帯の待ち受けにしようかな。
それは不許可だ。
Aw, come on.
なんで？
誰かに見られたらどうする？
マユシーの携帯画面を見るのはフェリスちゃんやルカ君やクリスちゃんやスズさんやダル君たちだけだよ。
Yeah.
そいつらに見られるのが一番ダメだから言ってるんだ。
そうなの？
そうなの。恥ずかしいだろ。
オカリンがそう言うならやめるけど。
Oh, come on, man! Oh, Mayuri gave the photo a sad look. Then she asked me another question.
じゃあね、みんながいないところでならいいかな。
Sure.
あ？まあ、それなら構わん。
そっか。じゃあそうするよ。
Oh dear, that's terrifying. She clutched her phone to her chest as if it were something precious. Then we were quiet for a while. The soft clatter of the train enveloped us. Silence like these can be painful when you're around someone you're not really close to. You start desperately looking for things to talk about. But with Mayuri, I could be myself. We've been together since we were little, so that's never been a so we never have to be nervous around each other, and I can just do nothing together. I can start a conversation when I actually have something to say. It's very comfortable.
あのね。
ん？どうした？
ね。
I wouldn't mind doing something like that again.
今日は緊張したけど、とっても楽しかったよ。
Aww.
そうか？
オカリンの人質になって本当に良かったなって思うのです。
Aww.
なんだそれは。
I laughed and prepared to change topics. But Mayuri paid my laugh no mind and continued.
まゆし、これからもずっとオカリンの人質でいられたらいいな。
Okay.
オカリンがおじいちゃんになって、まゆしがおばあちゃんになっても人質でいられたらいいな。
Okay. Okay. Okabe, read the room! She's practically proposing at this point. That's kind of poignant statement, isn't it? Maybe it's because you're too thick to get the point. Unless it's just the residual atmosphere from the romantic photo shoot. She doesn't mean anything by it.
もちろんではないか。これまでもそうだったし、これからもずっとそうに決まっている。
I watched Mayuri carefully after giving her my response. But she only said, yeah, and resumed looking at the photos that Moak had sent to her. I decided not to push the issue and stared out the window of the train. Lights of the residential areas passed us by, man-made shooting stars in the night sky. Under each light lives someone who will never meet. They'll live their full lives on their own and die, our lives never intersecting. Mayuri and I are riding the same train now, but will we someday be like the strangers behind the lights, walking through different lives, our paths never to cross? Sober thoughts. I shook my head to clear these invasive thoughts. Why am I even thinking about this? I swear, it's all because Mayuri said that weird stuff. Oh. I see the interior of our train car reflected in the dark window. And of course, I see Mayuri and myself. I frowned. Mayuri's looking at her cell phone, but she's wearing such a sad expression. Even though she just said today was so fun. She must have felt my suspicious gaze since she lifted her head and met my gaze in the mirror-like window. Dude, she looks sad because she feels like it was a dream that will never happen again. She's really sad.
マユシ、ちょっとお腹空いちゃったんだよ。
Oh, come on, girl. Come on. Mayuri sheepishly rubbed her stomach. Then she took out her grandmother's pocket watch, pockety, to check the time.
だってほら、もうこんな時間だもん。お腹がね、ぐるるってなってるのです。
That was adorable. Goo-doo-doo.
池袋の駅で何か食べていくか？
Mayuri said this with a smile. She's acting like herself again.
あ、そうだ。これ。
Mayuri took out an envelope from her bag. It had an ARC Rewrite logo on it. The director gave it to her as compensation for the photo shoot. I got one as well.
ラボのために使ってほしいな。
いや、気持ちだけもらっておく。それは衣装代にでもするといい。
でも、
成り行きとはいえ、俺にもバイト代が出た。ラボの方はそれがあるから大丈夫だ。
But she wants to! To be perfectly honest, the amount I got today wouldn't cover everything. But I plan to make up for the remainder through other part-time jobs. I couldn't take Mayuri's money from her, at least that was my rationale. When I let go of her hand, Mayuri reluctantly returns the envelope to her bag. Dang it, what a bitter ending. But I think we're gonna have to end it here for today. Gosh darn it, that was super fun, but he's so freaking stupid! I mean, she's not being super open about things too, but come on, man. You're so freaking blind if you don't see what's going on here. Man, that sucks. But it was still really cute and fun, so absolutely worth it. So thank you so much for sticking it out with me. That was definitely a longer episode, but come on, I couldn't break up all that stuff. It all had to be spun together, even if the ending was a little bit of a flat note. But man, so enjoyable. Like, it's one of those things where, like, I'm super, like, big Okabe, Kurisu, you know, like, I think that they really work well together. It's all good, but, like, this is really building a solid case for Mayuri. I mean, holy crap. How fun was that to watch? That was just so good. Oh, well, I had fun. Thank you so much for joining me for this, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope we get to read your fun comments and see what you thought of this whole part and scene, and, like, I don't know, was this what convinced you to be, like, a shipper for Mayuri? Like, I know many of you are really excited for me to play this. Like, is this part of why, or is it, like, still more to come that you really think is going to be the big hook for me? Or if you're not a shipper of Okabe and Mayuri, like, what did you think about this? It would be interesting to hear your input as well. But regardless, it doesn't matter. It's just all fun anyway. So thank you guys so much. Thank you so much to the patrons who are so much a big part of all this. You guys are wonderful. I really don't deserve your support, but I'm grateful for it. So thank you so much for everything you do and send my way. And, like, I hope I can use that to help make the channel bigger and better than ever before. Keep in mind, if you ever wanted to be, it's not like exorbitant or anything. You could even join for just like a little bit and then quit right out. You'll get access to Patron Cast, which is just a little podcast I do every month. This is behind the scenes where I answer direct questions. You can jump to Discord for free. But if you are a patron, again, you get to help with like voting for new titles we play, and like you get to hear my thought processes and get to see like exactly what I'm considering to do next, and can give me some direct input if you want. So if you really want to just be involved in the channel and like kind of help out with that type of stuff, like being a patron is the way to go. But like obviously you help the channel so much just by being here, so thank you so much for that. I'm really just lucky. I get to do something so fun that I'm so passionate about, and I'm grateful that you're here for it, to just share with me. You guys are awesome. So thank you so much. Until next video watching me, I'll see me next. I'll see you there.